The clock is ticking for Enbridge. In less than 2 months, the company might have to shut down its Line 5 pipeline. The governor of Michigan ordered that because she believes it poses a threat to the health of the Great Lakes. Line 5 carries 540,000 barrels of light crude and natural gas liquids a day through Michigan and into Ontario via Sarnia. It supplies over half the amount of oil used in both Ontario and Quebec. Enbridge is challenging Michigan's order in U.S. federal court. The company is also asking the feds to, quote, use every pathway to keep the pipeline operating. Vern Yu is the head of liquid pipelines at Enbridge. He joins us now from Calgary. Hi, Mr. Yu. Good to meet you and good to have you on our program tonight. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
From your perspective, how likely is it that your company is going to have to shut this down in a couple of months?
We think the chance of an immediate shutdown in the near term is extremely remote. The governor doesn't actually have jurisdiction to do that. So we believe her actions are unlawful and not within the law. So we plan to continue to operate the pipeline until we get a court order that would ask us to shut the pipeline down.
So you need not just what she's done so far, Governor Whitmer's done so far, but from your perspective, there needs to be a specific injunction or court order to force that shutdown to happen. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's correct.
And do you have any idea if that's being sought, or what can you share with us on that front?
Well, right now, the governor has no avenue to pursue a specific injunction at that while this is being held at federal court. So we've basically said that the regulation of pipelines in the United States is a federal jurisdictional issue, and our regulator is a division of the U.S. Department of Transportation, and that agency is the only agency that has the power to ask a pipeline to be shut down. So we want the federal court to confirm that, and we're working through that process. So until that's determined, really, there's no avenue for an immediate shutdown of the pipeline.
Let me ask you more broadly about the federal government in the United States and how that might work out, because there is kind of a new political reality, and politics is playing a huge part of all of this. Governor Whitmer is known as an ally of the president. Does that worry you? Do you think that if the federal government ends up having jurisdiction here, that it might not go Enbridge's way?
Well, I think the important thing to remember is Line 5 isn't just a pipeline that brings crude from the US into Canada. It does do that, but more importantly, it also provides 50% of the crude to Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Pennsylvania. So if Line 5 were to be shut down, it's not just Ontario and Quebec that would suffer an energy shortage and a significant increase in energy costs. It's also the U.S. Great Lakes states that would be under those same parameters. So there would be a severe energy crisis created by an immediate shutdown of the pipeline. So the U.S. federal government has always historically had the view that pipelines are a federally regulated set of assets. In fact, in the late 60s, the Pipeline Safety Act was invoked so that there'd be one regulator for pipelines rather than trying to have a multitude of states trying to assert jurisdiction over something that it provides energy security and provides commerce to many states, more than just one state at a time.
Do you think that the argument you just laid out about the benefits and the importance or significance of the pipeline to the U.S. will be ultimately persuasive, though, to this administration?
Well, I think the administration also has to work with the laws of the land, and the Pipeline Safety Act is a big feature to that. The Canada-U.S. Pipeline Transit Treaty is also another big legal precedent that it needs to be worked through. The adjoining states to Michigan will file in court that they are supportive of our point of view. So the states of Ohio and a number of other states are very interested in the fact that a shutdown within Michigan would have very severe economic consequences to their states as well.
Have you engaged with the governor or her administration around some of the concerns she's put forth? And just to mention them for our viewers, issues, for example, she's raised about a possible strike from a ship's anchor, claims that the pipe have been bending. She's worried about the health of the Great Lakes as she's described it. Have you had any conversations about that with her or her administration?
We've had, since she's come into power, we've met with the governor a handful of times and tried to accelerate the building of the Great Lakes Tunnel, which we believe will make a safe pipeline even safer. They've never been able to we've never been able to come agreement with them on how we can protect the existing line until the tunnel gets built. So we've gone out and implemented additional safety measures where we're now viewing every vessel that goes across the straits to make sure that their anchors are raised. We have our own boats on the water 24/7 during shipping season to make sure that the vessels that traverse the straits indeed do have their anchors up. The U.S. Coast Guard, the Federal Regulatory Agency for Pipeline Safety, all of them have reviewed our plans and our measures to say that we're doing everything that's best in class, and we're doing everything we can to ensure that the pipeline is safe and reliable.
So before I let you go, Mr. Yu, this is a political show, and so I wanted to get from your perspective your thoughts on where the federal government can play a role here, or what that role looks like. We've listened to some testimony from Minister O'Regan, the Natural Resources Minister, who's talked about the advocacy that they have been doing, the importance of the pipeline, even said they might have to invoke a treaty from 1977. What is there more that you're hoping to see from the federal government, or do you think that they're pursuing the right actions here?
So we've had really strong support from our federal government, all the parties in the House of Commons, the provincial governments in Ontario and Quebec. There's unanimous support really in Canada for the pipeline. It's an extremely important trade issue between Canada and the US, as it provides the energy security that we need to run our economy in central Canada and the US Great Lakes states. So I think we just need to keep our foot on the gas, to keep advising our counterparts in the US that this is incredibly important for both US and Canada. We need to find a diplomatic solution that allows us to continue to run the pipeline while we progress the tunnel. So really the solution is we need to get the tunnel built as fast as we can, and we're prepared to step up and do that as quick as possible.
Okay, Mr. Yu, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for coming on our program tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's Vern Yu. He's the Executive Vice President of Enbridge. Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.